Hello, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here today in the whole city 2021. I will try to speak briefly to you about the Paris vision. Uh, our vision is a mix of the Olympic agenda, where the new norm provides cities with an increased flexibility in designing the games to meet the long-term development goals, and that's fantastic because the games that adapt to the city and not the other way around, and that brings us a lot of opportunity. And then it's about what we want to do with those games. And for Paris, it is very important that these games become a unique opportunity to enhance the role of sport in society. We are big believers in sport, and we want to do our part of Olympism, a better world through sport. Uh, while we do that, we also want to keep up with our time. We think that the games are an opportunity to address some of the big issues around sustainability, around gender equality, and obviously around the place of people with impairment within our society. And to do that, we designed let's say, as some kind of a framework which we call the Paris 2024 vision. The first belief is that we really do believe that sport changes lives, and we want to put more sport into people's life, to address things like health, to address things like inclusivity, to address most of the challenges that our new way of lives is having to deal with. Uh, and we want to do that through an ambition. The ambition is to awaken the athlete within each of us. We like the idea of going one step further, to push our limits and use the games as a fantastic scenery to do that. The next thing here you have on the slide, it's our promise. We discovered really early during the bid that people wanted to take part. They don't want just to stay and watch the games. They want to take part, and we want those games, the energy of those games, that positive energy, to be for the maximum, to reach out for the benefit of all. And that's a promise we are wanted to do. Uh, the next thing here on that slide is our desire to do things differently. We use the word revolution. In France we like to use that word, but for us it's a positive word. It's how can we do things differently? How can we make spectacular games while being aligned with financial responsibility, sustainable and environmental responsibility? And to do that, we need an attitude. We need to invent. We need to be creative. We want to excel, and that's also the image of sport. We want to do the best we can. And we think we can do that through sharing, because sharing is today a very important part of people's life. We want to share emotions, but we also want to share data, to share assets, and to use to the best possible way the resources that are at our disposals. So that vision is basically what drives us on a day-to-day basis. And to do that, because it doesn't happen like that, we need to push, and we have put on a specific organization to make sure that we have people that actually are dedicated to integrate, for instance, our vision within every program of our games. So we have a dedicated department which job is to make sure that everything we do is aligned, whether it's the volunteer program, the ticketing program, even the way we budget things is aligned with the vision. Another thing we created is to make sure that we innovate, to make sure that we have that objective of thinking in new ways, in new direction. We have a specific team to help the organizing committee to be disruptive in every FA. We have a network of explorers, so every functional area has its explorer, which job is to challenge his team to be innovative. And we train those people. And they gather together also to challenge themselves in order to bring innovation on the day-to-day process within the organization. And last but not least is sustainability. I think it's the first time that we have a director at director level, a sustainability director that is that goal is to make sure that in everything we do, we are more inclusive and part of the ecological transformation through the organization of the game. To carry on with that vision, I'd like to speak about very quickly about our emblem, because we believe very much in the symbol in Paris 2024. And to build our emblem, we put together three powerful symbols. The first one is the gold medal. It's about excellence. It's about success. And it's where we want to aim. The second symbol is the flame. The flame is the passion. It's also the transmission. It's something that is within, that inhabited you. And the third symbol, because we want our games to be for the people, is a symbol of a human figure. We chose our Marianne, which for France is the symbol of the Republic, but it's also a woman. And at the end of the day, that brings our logo, where you can see that gold medals, that flame, and that human face. And for the first time also, we decided that together with the IOC and with the IPC, we could have the same emblem for the Olympic and the Paralympic Games. So we have two logos, one with the agitos, another one with the rings, but it's the same emblem. It's the same Paris 2024 vision. So to deliver that vision and to gather as many people as we can around this project, we basically go around three big cornerstones. The first one is the celebration, the delivery of the games. The second is engagement. And again, I think for us, it's a key element to engage as many people as we can. And the legacy, of course, as part of any big organization today. To speak about the celebration, and again to come back on a few innovations, we want obviously our celebration to be spectacular, and Paris is a fantastic setup to do that. And we actually pushed that advantage by taking out the games out of the stadium. We had a lot of fantastic existing venues, but what we did was, whenever possible, we went out using the iconic architecture and cultural assets of Paris to build venues, temporary venues, in the center of the city, bringing the games to the people. So here you see that little picture of the La Place de la Concorde that will host the urban sports. You will have archery on La Place des Invalides. You will have under the Eiffel Tower the beach volleyball and cécifoot during the Paralympics. We will use the Château de Versailles for the equestrian. We are taking the sport out of the stadium. We will also do that with another big symbol, which is the ceremony. And the opening ceremony, we should officially announce that the opening ceremony will be out of the stadium and on the Seine River for Paris 2024. Again, giving the opportunity for hundreds of thousands of people to follow live the opening ceremony of the games, feeling a part of something very special with fantastic images throughout the world. Another premiere is and another way of connecting with people is and also with new audiences is the opportunity we have to bringing new sport within the Olympic program, and particularly urban sports, sports that are easily accessible, sport that can be done easily, and that are connected to the youth, with for the first time breaking that's going to come into the game. And when you look at those sports, whether it's breaking, whether it's skate boarding, whether it's surfing, it is linked with a culture. It is linked with a way of life. It has got great success on social media and specific communities, even streetwears. Those sport brings to new audience and add up to the already fantastic Olympic program. when we talk about the celebration and the delivery of the games, and again, to be aligned with our vision, to be coherent, we also work on a new way of doing things. For example, and we said we wanted to be aligned with the issues of today's world, our sustainable procurement strategy is systematically managing around five big elements: the circular economy, the carbon neutrality. We try to look into social innovation, into inclusion, and especially with people with disability. And we look at the local value creation. And every project, every tender that we do, we take those principles into consideration. We also work on the new event delivery model in order to deliver the games, leveraging on existing and local expertise. Very important for us that we can count on the people that do sport on a day-to-day basis. We have a very mature industry around sport and events in France, and we want to use that to help deliver the games. We also already mentioned, have 95% of our venues that are existing or temporary. We construct very little, and thanks to the new norm, we can adapt the games to the city. Uh, Another area that I wanted to highlight is our innovative carbon strategy. Um, we, games today must be sustainable, and we work really hard to limit, to divide by two our carbon footprint compared to previous editions. We have more than 100% of our residual emissions that will be offset. 100% of our venues are accessible to public transport, and in an innovative way also, we within the organization we ask every FA, every department to work on a carbon budget. So people in the organization, they do have a financial budget, they have a human resources budget, but they also have a carbon budget that they can spend, which means also that they need to think about how they can limit their carbon budget as much as possible. And we bring that as basically an incentive within the organization to make sure that we reach our objective in terms of carbon footprint. The second pillar I mentioned is engagement, and we want everybody to be engaged in our games. So how do we do that? We're trying to create some kind of a movement. First of all, again, we give some kind of a promise that you can be part of the game, and one of the highlights of that program is the mass events. For the first time, and thanks to the IOC and in discussions also with the IAAF, we will be able to allow the general public to almost experience the games as the athletes. Well, they will be able to run the marathon right after the official marathon. People will be able to experience on the same course, on the same day, in the same conditions, the opportunity to run an Olympic marathon. Uh, another big program for us, and those two programs, Terre de Jeu and Le Club, are almost identical by nature. One of them is more of a B2B program. It's Terre de Jeu. Terre de Jeu is a label, basically, where all cities, big federations, build clubs, can connect and become Terre de Jeu, and basically implement programs, national programs that we do have in terms of celebrations, in terms of engagement in relation with schools, for instance, fan zones during the games, but also how you can have races or courses throughout your various organizations in relation with the Paris Games. So you get that visual identity, and we want people to be connected to the games. There are more than 30 million people living in Terre de Jeu areas today. And then you got the B2C initiatives, if you wish, which is the club. It's the biggest digital club, sports club, where basically you can take part and being involved. And the idea there is to actually get your bibs for the marathon for all. It's to be challenged with sports people, is to participate in sport competition. And already we have more than 250,000 people in the club. They follow the athletes. They support the French team. They will be able to volunteer for the games. They discover the Olympic and Paralympic culture. So basically, it's a digital club, a place to be, to connect with the games and to feel part. And that's one of our promise. And then our last pillar is legacy. Legacy is a bit more classical, but then again, we try to innovate in that matter, because most of our legacy is not infrastructure, so it's intangible legacy for us. Here I put on a few examples. The first one is the gender parity for the Paris Games. For the first time, Tokyo was close, but for the first time, we will have a full 50-50 participation between male and female athletes during our games. And this is, again, a very big symbol to show and to enhance the practice of sport within the women population. There is a lot of work to do in sports administration, and we want to push these initiatives. The second one here is about changing the attitude through sport in respect with people with disability. The Paralympic Games obviously is a fantastic platform, and we want to push the place of people with disability within society. And again, this is a fantastic opportunity. Incredible stories, incredible life stories from these athletes and around the Paralympic Games. And we believe it is a fantastic opportunity to push that to people out there to be able to better live in an inclusive way. Then it's about more sport in society. It's sport to move more. We've worked with the education ministries to put more sport, and we've reached an agreement to have 30 minutes of daily activity, of physical activity in school. We run a first pilot project around 1,000 schools, and that has been announced that it will be expanded to every school in France by 2024. That's a very important program for us. And then again, maybe something which probably is a first is that we put aside an endowment fund early on, because we wanted to make sure that we kept part of the budget for what we call Impact 2024. And Impact 2024, it's a fund to support community projects that harness sport for health, well-being, fun learning experience, civic engagement, inclusion, solidarity, etc. Everything that is aligned with our vision and with sport. And we put 15 million aside to support these kind of programs. So that's how we managed to gather along and to rally as many people as possible. And to finish that little presentation, I like to take that sentence of Daniel Burnham. Burnham was the architect of Chicago. And what he was saying, he was like, make no little plans. You got to be ambitious. You got to think big. And if you want to inspire, you really need to think big. And we have, with the Olympic and Paralympic Games, the greatest show on earth, the greatest event in the world, and thinking big is also an opportunity to just level up with the responsibility that we have by welcoming the world in 2024 in Paris. Thank you very much for your attention.